who's that? I just had so much fun being around her. And my whole being just like exploded with this creativity, and I get goosebumps when I talk about it, because it's something that Lisa is, something that she's willing to be, that I'm going to use the words totally turn my body on. What do I mean? Why do I say something like that? So what I mean with that is like it gives my body life, and it gives my body this bubbly, do you know what I'm talking about? This bubbly energy when you're like, you know, like springtime, like that. So that's what this lady is actually contributing with to me. And I had a new business idea, so I asked Lisa for a session, as I knew that Lisa is a very good business coach and creativity coach. So we had that session on the beach in Nusa.
Yeah.
And oh my God, did it blew my universe completely open, and my business idea just, you know, when it just goes beyond what you thought was possible. So, and then I was like, what would it take to get Lisa to Sweden?
And here I am.
And here you are. So who in here thought that change is a lot of work?
And who thought it's really hard and struggle and...
A lot of work. Hard.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what if it's not? What if it's actually the most fun you could ever have? Would you be? Yeah, because like when you start to look at change from a really different space, it actually opens up the possibilities that you're all asking for. Because the one common thing that ran through a lot of what you said in the beginning was possibilities. And so being open to just any change. You know, like, you know how they talk about the butterfly effect? Do you know what I mean by that? When a butterfly flaps its wings on one side, on the other side of the world it changes something. That's actually the essence of change. So what if that one tiny little thing you choose to change actually can make that much change in the world? So would that be more fun than making it really hard and intensive? And yes. Cool. When you create from space, it's a very different way of creating than creating from the intensity of everyone else's thoughts, feelings, emotions. You'll actually create with a lot more clarity. And like when you're saying, I don't know what it is I want to do, when you start to create the space that is your space and you get more of a sense of you as the being, you actually will know, because it'll be so clear to you. Basically, if it's light and it's expansive and it's fun, it's probably you, okay? And if it's not, then it's probably not you. And so when you start to look at what's light and fun and expansive and what would make you, if you created it, feel really good and what you would like to bring to the world, that energy becomes quite distinctive. And sometimes it's like that, and sometimes, you know, there's little bits here and there and there and there, and you've got to pull them all together and start to see what it's creating. But the more you're willing to have your reality, your space, and make your energy really big, you're going to have a greater sense of that.
I have a question. If I'm now feeling very expansive and full of joy and full of creativity, and I want to play with people, but most people don't want to play.
Okay, I could just say get new friends. No, really. Look,
but if you go here in the city,
yes. So one of the things is that the more you be an energy of that, the playful, creative, you know, joyful, you actually might find that the people that do want it are going to find you. You'll be like this big, beautiful, wonderful, grand thing that stands out. You know, I got on the plane in Singapore last night and I had an exit, you know, the exit railway legroom, so I was pretty happy. And then I looked and there's these 3 men and there was my seat in the middle, and they were all extremely sad, contracted, heavy. And I stood there and I was like, I've got to sit there. You know? And it was this really like, no, I'm happy, I don't want to sit there. And it was really interesting interesting because I literally stood there almost in shock because my reality is like this, and then all of a sudden it was like, wow, it's about that big. And no, really, it wasn't funny for a second there. By 1:30 in the morning, I'd been up since 4:30, and I'm like, no. So what I did was I went, well, I've got a choice here. I can make myself as small as their reality and have a really not fun trip. Or I can totally expand my universe out, be me, and be the invitation energetically for them to have some of that energy or not. So it's still their choice. One guy asked to move. He didn't want any happy in his universe. Right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, you've got to be willing to be whatever that is for you, whether or not people can receive it. And it doesn't mean shoving it down their throat. I never said a single word to him the entire time, not even a hello, because he was so like, barriers. We'll talk about barriers in a second.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't say a single word, but my energy was like, right, who on this plane wants some joy? What else do you want? What can I do with you? No, I didn't say that to anyone. I didn't need to, right? Because when you're being that energy, the people who want it are going to get it. I'll tell you what, all the little babies made their mothers come and stand near me. It was really funny.
Awesome.
Right? Yeah, because the babies know what they want.
Yeah.
So would you be willing to absolutely know everything that you would like to have from when you were a baby, when you really did know, but people sort of mushed up your universe a bit along the way? Would you like to remember everything you really wanted when you came?
Yes.
Cool. Well, there's a couple of things in there. One is, are you trying to define that big energy? Because the moment that you go into defining something, what do you do with it?
Make it solid.
You make it solid, and what else?
Conclusion what it is, what it
Yes?
looks like.
Yes, what else? Often you create limitations of what it can be. So what if the undefined part of it is the magnificent, great, wonderful, exciting thing? And what if your only job is just to find all the little threads that can contribute to it without... Like, what if you just find all of the threads that can contribute to it and actually just start weaving them together without having to know exactly what that big thing looks like? Because when you weave all the threads, it generally ends up greater than if you try and work it out. Does
I
that
think it's just
make sense?
like getting messy.
Okay, so what's wrong with messy? You've always got choices. Because, yeah, like how many millions of lifetimes of ideas have you actually all got, even if you think you don't, right? So what if none of them are right and none of them are wrong? What if it doesn't matter which ones you do and which ones you don't? Because like we make it all really significant. And if you stop making it significant, you just go, hey, what's going to be fun for me today? What can I create that's going to totally change everything around me the most it possibly can? Or whatever the question is that you would like to contribute to the world. Is that just going to be, oh, today I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do that? And do you actually think that if you're following that energy, that you could fail to create what you actually really truly would desire to create?
When I do that, I find I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just kind of all over the place.
Do you finish anything?
Sometimes.
Okay, cool. So one of the things to play with is, as long as you're, like, I always have a target of to try and finish one big thing a month, and there's always the new, right? Because the new is the fun, exciting stuff, but the finishing is not always the easy bit.
Yeah.
So if you have a target to finish one big thing a month, to get one thing out every month, and that's just my particular, you might have a different, time frame or whatever, but find a way where you feel like you are creating, see, because when you have this thing that's this big, you think you're never finished. Right?
Yeah.
Because like there's always more and there's always more and there's always more. And so rather than looking at what's wrong about that, what if you look at what's right about that, that maybe you're not getting? Because it's really easy to go into the judgment of ourselves. I mean, the creative process is something that, it's very all over the place, very amorphous. And what if it's all perfectly okay? And what if, there's things that I've done that like 5 years ago that they match the energy of what I knew I wanted to create, and it's only now I can see how they fit, right? And on the surface, you look at that thing and go, wow, that didn't really create much. It didn't go very far, and you did it twice,
Yeah.
But actually, it gave me information that now is incredibly useful. So what if you're willing to actually create in a really non-linear way?